Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to KAMDI Conversations. I am your host, Tanya Hawley. So excited to be here once again. We've got a great show lined up because we are celebrating Black Music Month. It's the last day. We're going to go out with a bang. And who better to have with me than my friend, the R&B historian, Mr. Tyrone Dubose. Hey, Tyrone!
Hello there. So glad to be here and honored we got it in on the last day of the month, which is always good.
Yes, it wasn't intentional,
Okay.
just kind of happened that way.
Just happened that way.
It
Okay.
did.
It
It
did
did.
indeed.
Say the best for last, right?
I appreciate that. And I'm so glad to be here with you and, of course, all of your fans. It means an awful lot to me. And I'm so forever gracious and grateful for all of the kind words in which I've received of being on your show. It means a lot.
Thank you, Tyrone. Well, welcome back. We're so happy to have you. You are just a walking book of knowledge when it comes to R&B music and music in general. We have that title, but I know you know all music. Uh, so we're going to go ahead and get started. It's just an honor to have you and to talk about this subject, which is near and dear to my heart. Of course, last week we had Miss Deanna Williams, the founder or co-founder, I should say, of Black Music Month, and we talked about that. So now we have you to talk about the actual music. So let's go ahead and start. Everybody, as you join, say hi to us. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you go ahead and post them, and we'll address them. So let me ask you this, Tyrone. What does this month mean to you, Black Music Month?
It's a very important month for several reasons. Many people don't realize that black music began with slavery and that a lot of the music in which came out during slavery was stopped because the people who owned the slaves thought that they were talking in code. And the reason
Hmm.
why black music is so important now is because it's made a sense of a evolution and from a revolution to an evolution. And it's an important part of not just black culture, it's an important part of American culture.
Yes. Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought of it from that perspective. That is very deep. Yes. It goes way back. It's important to us. And why do you think people should celebrate it?
We should celebrate it because it's a very important part of our heritage. Many of the top songs in the history of music are from African Americans. In the 40s, they called it race music. They didn't even
Hmm.
consider it music that belonged to black people at all. We have evolved from having it be called race music to a very important part of American music and a very important
Hmm.
part of our culture. It's a big deal.
Yes. I don't often think about this, but I have thought about what kind of world would it be without music? When you think about it, it is,
Amazingly, yeah, that would be it'd be tough.
yeah,
And I think
it's,
it's something that gets us away from a part of our lives. You know, we date ourselves with the music in which we know, and it's
hmm
a part. It's very becoming of our life. You can hear a song and you can remember where you were when you heard it, or an important part of your life. Then, so music is an important part of life.
it's just what I would say the soundtrack of our lives. Usually, like you said, whatever that time period that you grew up in, that's usually the era that we remember or can match a lot of events, life events with. And but music is such a part of our life. I don't think people even realize it on a daily basis. You know, television, even if it's just background noise, even the newscast, they've got music when it comes on and goes off. You know, there's music in all the commercials. There's music, of course, on the radio, but even just in the background when you go into stores, there's music playing. Um, I think we take it for granted sometimes.
We do indeed. And what's interesting, you mentioned about going, and for the people on the show, please forgive my voice. I'm just getting over laryngitis, but I am okay, which is good. Got a chance to eat lots of soup and watch a lot of unique TV. Most of us call it ratchet TV, but I got a chance to watch some of it.
I hear you.
It's a very important part of our life, and amazingly, like you said, we could be in a room, we hear a theme song, and we know that a show was coming on, or
hmm
we'd hear a commercial and we knew what it was, and it's
Yeah.
it's it, it's a standard of what we look for. It's what we hear sometime when our kids are singing, and things that they remember. It's a very important part of not just music; it's part of our life.
It absolutely, it truly is. And is there anything specific that you have done this month, or that you've done in the past, or can recommend for people to do to actually celebrate Black Music Month?
The best way for people to celebrate, I should say, Black Music Month is to celebrate the music that became a part of who you became today. You know, music in different decades puts you
Hmm.
in a situation or a place that recognizes a part of your life to make that made you who you are today. And that's what I always tell people. Listen to the songs
Mm.
that became a situation or a position that put you in the place of what you've become now. There are songs that motivated you, songs that made you sad, songs that put you in love, songs that put you in a different place, and that was a very important part of your reason for living. And so you should go
Mm.
back, not just celebrate Black music, celebrate the music that put you where you are today.
I like that. And when you were saying that, what I was thinking of, something people can do is maybe make a list of those songs, those special songs to you that mean something to you, and maybe what they mean to you, and share them with your children or your family, so they can have an understanding of what music you like. And also exposure to possibly other music, especially if your children are younger. They may not know these songs, but they might remember the story. Later on they'll remember the story, the song, and the story that went with it if you share it with them. Hey, I like that idea. I might have to do that myself, Tyrone.
It's all good.
Yeah. So I also encouraged, me and Deanna talked about this last week as well. She said, go see a live performance of some artists. Celebrate live music. COVID, they say, has settled down, but at least more things are open, if nothing else. And there's
Right.
lots of concerts, lots of live music events, especially this holiday weekend. You can celebrate that way by supporting the artists at live
Yes,
concerts.
absolutely. You have to remember these artists lost a big part of their lives as
Yes,
well during COVID. They weren't able to perform. They tried to do the, performances online, but it's not the same as seeing people in person, and it's
right.
very important. I mean, that this is how they made their living too.
Yes. So that would be a great way. So we, of course, have come up with a list. Now, if y'all don't agree with it, it's okay. You can post in the comments what your thoughts are, what music you like. But we actually have a list we're going to talk about, and of course, I couldn't do this without having my DJ with us. Let's bring in DJ 12. Hey, DJ 12, welcome.
Hey, hey,
Hey,
what's
12, how
going
you
on?
doing, my friend?
All
Great to see
right.
you again. Great to see you.
Always a pleasure. Good to see you.
Thank you,
Hi,
sir.
Tanya.
Thank
Thank you.
Hello, welcome.
Tyrone, I'm
thank you,
glad
sir.
that you are recovering.
I am indeed.
Yes. So we're going to talk about some songs. We collaborated and came up with a list of songs that we thought we couldn't live without for Black Music Month. But before we get into that, I want to ask you both this question. Uh, I thought this was an interesting question. Let's see what you come up with. If you were stranded on an island, and you were allowed to have one artist's music, what artist would you choose and why? If you could choose one artist, you're on this island all alone, and you can have music, but you only can have choose one artist and have their catalog of music to play while you're stranded indefinitely on this island. What artist would you choose? Tyrone?
This is what's so cool. I had to. It actually came to me pretty quick. Um, Originally, I was thinking maybe an R&B artist or something like that, but it wouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
It would be the group Survivor, and they were the ones who made the Rocky songs, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, and
Oh,
actually they were known for doing a lot of the Budweiser commercials. Remember the Real American Genius? It was this group made those songs. Both of those songs went to number one, and those motivating songs always kept me going.
oh, that's very interesting. Now I gotta go look up Survivor and listen to all their songs. Even though we've been watching the Rocky movies lately, so I've heard those. But I'm gonna go.
Oh, you've heard of, yeah. I mean, Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, I know
I mean,
that one, but I know there's
these
some other ones
they,
that I forgot about. I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah. They were great songs, but um, Rocky or Sylvester Stallone had a knack of being able to recognize talent and knew exactly what to do. It was great.
Hmm. Right. Okay. 12. What about you?
I was torn between two, and I'm laughing at Tyrone's pick only because I'm such a rock junkie behind the scenes. I play R&B music at an R&B show, but I am a rock fiend. And so my first thought would have been honestly Guns N' Roses because I am a
Wow.
Slash fiend. I think and I understand anybody can have whatever sentiment they want about rock guitar. To me, Slash is the greatest lead guitarist ever, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. However, if I'm stranded on an island, my honest pick would be Stevie Wonder.
Ah,
And
yes.
my reason for picking Stevie is that a massive catalog which would take me years to get through, so I got enough music to last me. And the variety, I think, is what brings me back to Stevie. The fact that he has literally recorded something in every genre of music. And
Mm.
that variety, I think, would keep me from going stir crazy if I was
I
isolated on an island. So that's my pick and why.
I
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
I
Go
was
ahead.
just gonna say 12. Not only was that a great pick, and I almost want to just say I had that one first, but you took it from me. But what's amazing, most people believe that Michael Jackson was the biggest R&B singer in the '80s, when in essence Stevie Wonder was bigger than Michael Jackson on the R&B chart. Most
Mm.
people didn't know that. That's how big Stevie Wonder was. Um, Although he wasn't number one in the '80s, he was number two, and he was ahead of Michael Jackson.
Who was number one again, Tyrone? In the
It was
80s?
Prince.
Uh-huh.
It was
We
Prince.
we've had that conversation last time. I just
Yeah,
wanted to, refresh
yeah,
everyone's memory. Thank you
yeah.
both for sharing. I actually was torn between Stevie was at the top of my list, but those that know me know I can't help it. I'm a Luther Vandross fanatic. I can listen to him all day, every day, all the A, the B, everything. Give me some change. I can just change anybody. Luther's voice. I just can't help it. So, and I know, and Luther makes me feel love. A lot of his songs were about love, loving somebody or being loved by somebody. Even the heartbreak ones, I still love them. So it was Stevie was up there, but Luther, since you said Stevie, I'm gonna go ahead and stick to Luther. So I can't help it. I just can't help it. All right. Thank you. If you all would like to comment and share, please do. But we're going to move on to what we really were here for. It was going to be quite interesting. Some of the songs we came up with. Songs, the question was for Black Music Month, what songs do you have to hear that would have to be on a list for Black Music Month? If you think of these songs when you think of Black Music Month. And so we have compiled a list, and we're going to go ahead and start with the list, not in any order necessarily, just kind of an order I put them in. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, and you could say if it was on your list, which I know this one was definitely Tyrone's one of Tyrone's picks. So go ahead with that first one, 12. Play a little bit of that, and it is. Ooh, the hustle.
Yeah. Um, that was on my list, and
Yes.
the reason why it was on the list is because I tried to choose songs that transcended black music. And though he was from Washington D.C., he was he actually had the song number one on the pop chart as well as the R&B chart, and disco and the music of the '70s transcended with that song right there. While it wasn't the
Wow.
biggest disco song in history, it was clearly one of the ones that transcended disco to no doubt, and there's no way around it. And so this was the reason why I chose this record. I thought it was very important in the lives of black music. And black music was going through a revolution in the 70s at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I believe that that song was important.
That's awesome. And that, by the way, everybody, that was by Van McCoy, in case you didn't remember, The Hustle by Van McCoy. And I thought it was interesting when I saw that on your list. I said, I can't wait to hear why he chose this. I kind of had an idea because it was huge. And the other thing is, it brought everybody to the dance floor too. Uh, the dance went along with it. So everybody was doing the hustle, no matter what color you were out there because it crossed over. Everybody did
Yeah,
the hustle back then.
yeah, I
And that
agree.
was like one of the first line dances. That was like one of the first, if not
Agreed. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And it was
the first
one
I
of the
knew
reasons
of.
why. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Although there were disco dances such as doing the kung fu with, Carl Douglas, but the hustle was really one of the ones that really got it at the epitome or the peak or part of the peak of disco right before the Bee Gees slipped in.
Oh yeah. 12, you have any
And
comments on that one? Hmm.
yeah, being a New Yorker, the hustle was a integral part of the New York club scene. And even different boroughs claim different versions of the hustle. Like I can honestly recognize by how people do the hustle where they're from. There was a Latin hustle, which was
Mm.
predominant in the Bronx. Brooklyn people that do the hustle do a totally different, more flamboyant style of the hustle. So, and for Van McCoy's song, and I'm gonna take Tyrone back. He'll probably get a kick, Tanya. You might remember it, might not. This was one of the first songs that I can remember being utilized in a commercial that was a black song. There was a dining company that sold dinette sets, and it would come on to this song, and it had a white couple doing the hustle, dancing on a dining room table. And
Oh
it was a
wow.
commercial for this place that sold dining room furniture. But that was the first time I can remember a black song. And if you know, in commercials now, R&B is a hook to drawing in viewers and listeners. To Tyrone's point earlier when he said you can hear that song and you kind of know. Look what the Gap has done by utilizing black music, and not just the Gap, but then Target as well, to take their
Yes.
sales over the top as far as marketing toward the black urban consumer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Genius. But
yeah,
the hustle in Van McCoy, groundbreaking. And a lot of
Mm.
people
yeah.
just don't recognize that. But it's a song you recognize from the minute you hear that opening. You know what's
Oh
coming on.
yes.
You say
Yes.
those three words, and immediately you know what you're going. You know where you're going with it. But it was a very important part of black music's evolution, or
Mm.
revolution, I should say, in the '70s because it was us moving into a different beat. Remember, if you were on the pop chart, that meant both white and black people were buying it,
Right.
and black
Yeah.
and whites were buying that record. It was a big thing in music history, but it was big in black music history, and that's
Mm.
why I chose that song.
Thank you,
Outstanding.
And by the
Tyrone.
Awesome
way,
selection.
I mean, although he died at 39 years old, he was young at 79, and he had a heart attack, but he actually won a Grammy for Best Instrumental for that song.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Tyrone. Some good information on that one. Uh, Al and Shell are here. They're responding to the stranded on an island. They said they were torn between the Isley brothers and Sade.
Okay, they talking about making babies. That's what they talking about. Y'all need to stop that. That's it. They not trying to survive. They talking about making babies. Y'all need to stop that. Cut that
Now
out.
that's funny, and my husband probably would agree with Sade because he was Sade. Well, you know about that. My
Ain't
It's not a
nobody,
husband.
bad
ain't nobody,
choice, though.
yeah, but ain't nobody got time when you're trying to survive listening to that.
Okay,
Y'all need, this is a rated G show. Cut it out. Both of y'all.
that is
YouTube
funny.
12. YouTube 12.
This is 10-4K.
Okay, let's go on to our next one. Now, this one is actually on 12's list. And this one, I'll let you go ahead and play a little bit of it. We got some Nina Simone.
Oh, what a lovely, precious dream to be young, gifted, and fun. Open your heart to what I mean. When the whole world you know there's a million more.
What made
Wow.
you pick that? Yeah.
That's a heart selection. That is a song that I thought for my era of young black teens that was growing up in such a revolutionary post segregation type environment. This was a song of encouragement, and
Mm,
and I don't think you can talk about anything black in music and not talk about this song. It was something that my friends and I that we embraced. We managed to make it through high school. We went to college, and in our minds, we were young, gifted, and black, and we did not see that as a handicap. We didn't see the world as opposition. We saw that we had a place, and this song was the embodiment of that mindset that
mm,
drove us forward to be successful, not because of, but in spite of all of those challenges that were out there. And I think it rings truer now for our young people to be reminded that
mm,
there's no obstacle here in America that they can't overcome if they truly recognize that there is something to be said for being young, gifted, and black in America. So that song is just timeless, and the more I play it and the more I sit back and listen to the words, the more, even at 62 years old, I find it inspirational enough to get up and take another step the next day and realize that truly, if you believe it, you can achieve it.
mm. What year was that out?
I'll leave that
1969.
to the historian. Yeah, I was going to
It
say
was,
69.
yeah. I'm going to tell you what's interesting about this 12. You were right on the button with the things in which you said. And what's amazing is Nina Simone only had in her music career only 7 charted hits. From 1959, she went to number 2 with a song about Porgy. And then 10 years later, she had Young, Gifted, and Black. Both songs, her first song that charted and her last song that charted, both reached the top 10. In between them, she didn't. But that song came out months after I'm Black and I'm Proud with James Brown.
Mm, that's powerful. And some great history in that song. Thank you for sharing that, 12. I heard your heart when you were speaking about that.
Yes, indeed. I heard it
Yes.
12. I did
Yeah,
too.
that's wonderful. Thank you for that. Next, everybody's gonna know this one. I think this was on a couple of our lists as well. Let's go on and get it out because everybody's on. All right.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you track, when you track, when you track.
Hey, everybody! If you don't know what this is, you lose your black card. So anyway, of course, we all know that's respect. RESPCT. We know what that is by Mr. Aretha Franklin. It speaks for itself. So
Let's
Tyrone,
go back. Let's go back to the black card thing. That was pretty funny.
I
Let me.
mean,
I'm not starting any. I'm not
even
starting any mess here. Okay.
even if you
I,
are non-black, you can lose your black card for not knowing this song.
and here's what's amazing with Aretha Franklin with this song. Number one, it not only was her second number one song, but it also hit the honor roll of hits the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She got a Grammy for it as well. Best R&B vocal for it. Record Industry Association of America. I mean, it was not only a classic, it's Black history. And
Yes.
this 12 was a great choice and a perfect, um, you know, a symptom of what we were talking about earlier. About
Right.
this was what Black music is, American music, and this song right here
Right.
transcended that right away.
There you
And
go.
one of those songs like we talked about with Hustle.
And
Yeah.
I also think that this became one of the songs along with "I'm Every Woman" by Helen Reddy and amongst others. Uh, Even women in their fight for their civil rights, for suffrage and voting, etc. Aretha Franklin's version of "Respect" rang true at a lot of different levels. Depending on who you were and what your issues were, this song still kind of had its way of working its way into whatever area that was. Something as simple as, when I come home, give me my propers. And we still, we don't recognize how we break down terminology. Back then it was very formal, give me my propers. But you still have people now that say, give me my props. There's rap songs that say, who got the props? But they don't
Mm-hmm.
know where that came from. And giving
Mm-hmm.
somebody their propers was, give me my just due for going out there and doing the things that I do. Give me my respect. And I don't think there's anybody who knows this song that didn't learn how to spell respect. If you can't, if I'm
Right.
typing the word, and you get stuck, you'd be like, RESPEC. Okay. So it's even a spelling guide for people who get stuck with the word, but it's an outstanding song. And it's one of those
Yes.
iconic Aretha songs. You hear it, you know it. That's it, period.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
generations, all
Yeah.
ages, everybody knows and it continues to know it. I don't, what I mean, even the newer generations, the younger people, it just is still there, and everyone knows that song, and all um, all nationalities, all races, everybody knows that song still. So that's one that I think will live forever, literally.
I can't wait
Uh,
for the next one.
12. I want to rewind just for a second.
Sure.
Oh, but before we go to the next one, just to say, you said what about Helen Reddy? What song did you say?
I'm every woman.
No,
I
I
am
am woman.
woman.
I
I
I
am
I
am
woman.
I
woman.
am woman. I'm sorry.
My brain was
No,
going trying to remember.
Nope,
I said,
nope, 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 nope. I stand corrected. She was I am
leave,
woman. I am woman. Hear me
leave
roar.
alone.
Blah blah
Leave
blah.
12
Yep,
alone.
I am
That's
woman.
yeah,
that's
I
my
knew.
brother.
Thank
After I
you. I
thought
stand
about it,
corrected.
I didn't mean to, correct you on the show,
No,
but
no, that's
I
fine.
was trying to think of what
That's how we
song
do.
you were speaking of, and I said, "I'm every woman." That's
No,
just
it's
wait a minute.
I am woman. Correct.
I know I am woman. Hear me roar. I knew what it was. That's why I asked you to make sure I had the right song. So let's
I
go
plead not
on.
guilty.
What you say, 12?
No, I heard the music playing. I was saying that it's not me.
Yeah,
No,
I heard it.
it's me once again not turning off the phone. So
Oh,
I
that's
just
okay.
I'm,
Let's
But
go
I'm
I'm
new
on.
at
excited
this.
about the next song.
Yes, and let me read a couple comments first. E Groove's old school music. Thanks for joining us again, Sharon. Thanks for joining us. E Groove is saying, he said, Star Point, Wanting You, and So Delicious albums, and Roy Ayers' new album, Sunflowers. I think that's what he's saying. He might want on an island, maybe. I think that's what
Oh,
you're
okay.
answering.
But that's
And then
not one
Sharon,
art.
hmm, what'd
No,
you
I
say?
said that's pretty cool.
Oh, Sharon says she loves to hear Phyllis Hyman. Oh, yes, I love Phyllis Hyman too. And then um, and then they were name and respect. Okay, let's go on to the next one because we got a few more to go, and I don't want to run out of time. So we know he had to be on the list somewhere. So let's go ahead and play it. Hey,
My Jerry
y'all
curl was
know
in full effect. My Jerry curl was in full effect.
we know that is Michael, of course, and Billie Jean. And I
Yeah,
mean, what do you say to that?
I chose this song because um, Michael Jackson had um, 25 singles that reached the top 10. He had 28 singles, I should say, that were um, released in the 80s, and 25 of those 28 reached the top 10. Um, and I used Billie Jean not only because it was one of his bigger hits, but it's, you know, he got the Grammy, Best R&B Song, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, it's in the NPRs as well. But once again, another song that transcended black music and black excellence and black
Hmm.
history. You know, the kids had the jackets, tried to do the dancing. These were all of this was a very important part of black
Hmm.
history, a big part of black history.
It's almost a movement, you know. It really was. The '80s was a movement, Michael Jackson movement. You might have.
And it started videos for MTV. Remember, they
That's
didn't even
right.
want to play Michael Jackson until they forced him, and then it all went uphill from there.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And of course, you can't go wrong with Michael. And Black Music Month, you got to have Michael in there somewhere. So thank you for that. Let's play the next one. This one, well, I'm gonna wait till you play it and then I'll say something. Ooh. Duke Ellington, A Train. Yes. What made you choose that one? Whose list was that on? Yours, 12?
Yeah, that was one of mine. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the contribution of blacks to big band uh,
Mm.
has been somewhat overlooked. I think the legacy of Duke Ellington and Count Basie uh, in an era where being a black orchestra conductor was an achievement that I don't think people can really comprehend. You know,
Mm.
the clubs that we are considered so synonymous with black culture and history, like the Cotton Club and things like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
People forget were predominantly white owned, white run, white entertainment. It was black entertainers for a white audience. So for somebody like Duke Ellington to take a song like Take the A Train and do what it did culturally, which was again something that crossed boundaries and barriers. I think it was only right that if we're talking about black music history, the contributions of Duke Ellington and Count Basie and the other gentlemen and ladies who came through the big band era, Bessie Smith, people like that,
Mhm.
that needs to be acknowledged. We can't call this Black Music History Month if we don't touch corners and areas that we don't always get to talk, see, and discuss. So that was one of my reasons for picking Duke Ellington and the iconic Take the A Train.
Well said.
Yeah,
Well,
I like that. A great read for you 12 with that. And looking on the charts for Duke Ellington, 13 songs made the chart for Duke Ellington. Of 13 songs, 12 of those songs reached the top 10. Five of those songs reached number one, the fourth biggest artist in R&B history in the 40s. And he crossed over to the pop chart and reached the top 10 four times. That tells you a lot about this man. And remember, I told you in the 40s, they called it race music. I loved what you said. You know, black entertainers were for white audiences. And
right.
the fact that the white audiences were buying that song along with some of the others of his bigger ones that were just as
Mhm.
huge. Remember, he never went back on the charts again after 1948.
Oh, okay. So yes, thank you for that. And I think you also made a comment. You said you said Black Music History Month. Of course, it's Black Music Month, but I think it's good you said that because that is part of our history as well. And a lot of people forget about, before there were all these other artists, back then, that was the Black music or race music, as Tyrone eloquently told us it was called. And that's really all we had. Everything else came after that. So I have crates of my grandfather's albums that include the Duke, from that era. So it's Duke Ellington and Count Basie and all the other ones, Nat King Cole's and Nancy Wilson's, the people from that era. Um, and who else? I'm missing somebody major. Duke Ellington and somebody else that was major. Or help me, 12. Name some other artists from that. Or
Count
Tyrone.
Basie. Count Basie was another one.
Yeah, somebody I can't think of who I could see him, but I can't think of his name. But at any rate, um,
See
pray
him,
for
a single person, Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong is who I was trying to think of. Thank you. Yes. So that we don't want to forget them is what I'm really trying to say, is because they had a huge impact on everything, because things started back then. It was a different type of music, but we progressed and transformed. But it came from them. It started there, and then we moved to different all the other different genres we have now. But that's all we had back then. So thank you. And A Train, of
It
course, will
started
always
in the motherland with the drum,
yes,
big band,
that's a whole nother
swing,
show. Yeah.
jazz, and then everything jumped off from there. So people can say what they want. The root of
Yes.
music in America is black music.
Yes. And
Agree.
Sharon,
Absolutely.
Sharon is, Sharon's commenting saying, music triggers memories. Working with seniors when they can't remember names, they remember songs. That's very true. Um, that's very true.
100%, Sharon. One
And
hundred
then,
percent.
and then she was saying
Outstanding.
she's like Billy Eckstine and Cab Calloway were the names she was
Oh
mentioning. So,
wow, yes. Oh, my mother would have killed me for not thinking of Billy Eckstine. My
ah,
mother loved Billy Eckstine.
so I think this is actually a good segue into the next one. Um, so this next song, although it is what we'll call seasonal, I am so glad it's on our list because it wouldn't be the season without this song. So go ahead, 12. Play this one. Mm.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Ooh, that voice.
Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
Classic.
Yuletide carols being sung by choir. And folks dressed up like
Oh, you
Eskimos.
made me want. I want it to be Christmas time.
I got some
Oh,
bills to pay. What you mean?
right. Hey, Christmas in July. Tomorrow's July. So,
Wait till we get that credit card down. What you mean?
oh, thank you for picking that one. Tell us what's behind the choosing of that one, 12. Although I mean, I'm so glad you chose it because that's a classic.
It, you already said it. When you hear it, it's the season. I know that there are other versions, and I mean so many versions of
Thousands,
the Christmas song.
thousands.
And I'm gonna put an asterisk with this, and I think Tyrone will probably appreciate this. I was torn between this and the other song I'm talking about is also seasonal, but it's Donny Hathaway's "This Christmas."
Christmas.
This
Yes, I
Christmas.
immediately thought of that when I saw
Those
that
two
one.
songs to me have transcended all musical seasonal boundaries.
Totally agree.
No matter who made those songs, and those two songs in my mind, I can think of zillions of versions of both songs.
Hmm.
But if I want to hear the kickoff to the Christmas season,
Yep.
either one of those songs playing in a reasonable proximity to Thanksgiving lets me know that it's holiday time.
Yes.
And I selected Nat King Cole's The Christmas Song because that was one of my mother's favorite holiday songs.
Hmm.
And if I can share, this is one of those songs where you say songs trigger memories. One of my greatest pleasures was me and mom. My mother would always have me come over and decorate the tree. She had this little 4 foot tree that I bought her when I was a teenager with one of my first jobs, and she kept that tree forever. And she always said, "Come on over here, decorate my tree." We would turn off all the lights, and just by the lights, blinking lights of the Christmas tree, we would have a little something to sip on. And she would say, "Boy, go play my records." And we would play those classic Christmas albums, the Jacksons and R&B,
Yes, great
Nat King
memory.
Cole and Booker T and the MGs and so on and so on. But that is a holiday memory for me. So Nat King Cole had to be on my list.
In fact, this song was so big that it went in the top 10 twice, 1948 and in 1949. Reached the top 10 twice. And the
Wow.
only other Christmas song that did that was Boys to Men, Let It Snow.
Wow.
Hmm.
The only other
Now,
song that did.
was that was the original of that? Is that correct? That King Cole was the original of that song, like that?
Bing
Because I
Crosby
was Bing Crosby there. I didn't know who the original was
yes,
actually.
yeah,
I'm
Bing
not,
Crosby.
yeah, I was going to say, I wasn't sure
It's,
which one
it's
did
Bing
it
Crosby.
first.
And
It
Bing
was big.
Crosby is his song is, I think, still, I could be wrong, but still, that song is the biggest selling song in history, I think. But I could be wrong because I think Mariah Carey's Christmas song just
Yeah,
overpassed. I
yeah, I was
think
going
it
to
did.
ask about that.
I think
Yeah,
it did. In the digital download, in the digital downloads, that should say,
yeah, I think
yes.
every year she's breaking some records of Christmas. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, 12. That was great. I'm gonna have to keep moving because we run out of time. We got several songs to go. Um, let's go ahead.
Mother, mother,
Hey, we got some
there's
Marvin in the
no
house.
need to cry.
What's going on? That actually was on my list.
Brother, 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 there's far too many of you die.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
You know
That
it.
was Marvin Gaye's That was Marvin Gaye's seventh number one song, his seventh number one song. And
seven.
remember, it was almost a song that didn't exist. He argued with Berry Gordy to put that song out. And at the last minute, Berry Gordy said, "That the hell with it. Just put the stupid song out." And that song became one of the biggest songs of his career, not only in the honor roll of hits, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Record Industry Association, and even ASCAP. It was one of the biggest songs. And I picked that song because, once again, these are songs that transcends Black America, Black excellence. And I thought it was very important.
I agree. It was on my list too, and you couldn't have said it better. And that's just one of those songs that is so relevant still. And I really don't like to be able to say that it's still a relevance. You know what I mean? I wish it wasn't so relevant still. You know what I mean? In our
Yeah.
time, but unfortunately, it still is. Um, right. E. Groove was saying the same thing. Marvin Gaye was going on, and it's still going on today. It is crazy. Yeah, it is. Um, but it's almost like Marvin. I'm not going to say it was before his time, but he was singing and writing to what was going on at that time. But it was just it's so relevant, and unfortunately, it's still relevant today. So now this next one, I couldn't think of a particular song, so I gave it up to 12 to just pick one. I had put it out there for people to give me their songs just to see what people come back, and I had one person say anything. No, she said songs in the key of life. That's what she said, but I just couldn't pick one. So go ahead and let's see what you chose, 12, just to as an example for Mr. Stevie Wonder.
Everybody say
Yeah,
yeah, say yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
all right. We had to have
Well,
Stevie on the list.
and what an amazing song to pick. It was his first single ever in the year of 1963. Went to number one on both the R&B and pop charts in the year of 1963, and it reached the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
1963's first one. That was
That
Little
was his
Stevie
first
Wonder.
one. Yeah, his
And that
very
was why I
first.
picked it.
So, yeah,
I picked it because when I saw it said any song DJ's choice, I said, well, with a catalog as big as his, that is so not easy. But being that this is, again, Black Music Month, what better song than the song that introduced him to the world? And what I thought about was how groundbreaking a show the Ed Sullivan Show was. Uh, you had pretty much made it, and America knew who you were once you made an appearance on Ed Sullivan.
Hmm.
Diana
Hmm.
Ross and the Supremes introduced the Jackson Five on the Ed Sullivan Show. The
Right.
Beatles made their American premiere on the Ed Sullivan Show. And Stevie Wonder, this performance was recorded live from the Ed Sullivan Show, and it remains the biggest introduction to me of an artist that was
Hmm.
recorded. And Tyrone, if there's another one, let me know. But I don't remember a song that introduced an artist who became as iconic a figure because this was a little kid on stage
Right.
and he
Right.
just was so in control. And this is even when you pull up the video clip, they show it in its entirety. And there's so many little nuances in there, like when Stevie kept playing and the guy said, "What key? What key?" Because he kept going and they didn't expect that. But that was the control that that young man had, and what a great introduction. Look at who he became.
yeah,
Yes. Great
yeah,
choice. Great
yeah.
choice. All right. Now let's go to the next one.
One, two, three. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure. But does
Okay.
she really wanna
A
pretend
song.
to see me walk out the door?
It's one of the
Yes.
reasons I chose that song, and really the only reason. Once again, another song that transcended Black music. Although
Hmm.
they didn't do well on the R&B charts, it only just made it into the top 10, but it went to number one on the pop charts for 9 straight weeks. It was that big, and it went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Grammy Hall of Fame as well. And best, they won a Grammy for best R&B group. It's just once again one of those songs that just transcends
Yes. Transcends.
music. Yeah,
Absolutely. Now there was one, and thank you for sharing that, Tyrone, because I did not know all the facts about that song. So that was some good information for me. I knew about it, but I didn't know all those details. So that I can see why it is on the list when you say Black Music Month. These are
right.
important songs. That's a good one. Now,
That's considered, by the way, one of the top 100 songs in the history of music. That song.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Now there's another rap song. Do you have that one, 12? That was I had it on the list before this one. Do you have that one?
No, I don't see a previous list. You can tell me what song
No,
it
I
is.
mean the song before Hey Ya.
Miss Jackson.
Uh, oh, I apologize. You're right. I apologize. I did skip one. Let me go back.
That's okay.
Nope. You know what? I was looking at the list and it was so little, I just kind of overlooked it. My apologies. But
No
yes,
worries. Because well, I'll let you play it and then I'll talk about it. And you already know why I chose it. I think you and Tyrone both know. Go ahead. I picked this one for sure. Hey.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop, you don't stop the rocket to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
teasing me.
just a little history on that. Nile Rodgers walked into Studio 54, heard that song for the first time, and became enraged, knowing that they were sampling his song. But then he calmed down, and then he was okay with it. And here's a song that is not only made history as far as being one of the biggest rap songs, but the only song in history to have sold the more 12-inch records than anyone else in history. 6 million copies of that song
Wow.
was sold. Yeah.
And of course, I chose that because that was, for me, where I was, and a lot of other people, the first rap song that I ever heard.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that reached the entire country. There were, I know there were others, especially New Yorkers. They heard more, but that was my first exposure, and a lot of people like me. That was the first one to touch all of us. And I remember someone trying to explain it to me. Have you heard that song yet? I said, what song? She said, the song. They're like talking. They didn't even know what to call it, um, because it was new, and the term rap, it wasn't there yet. I mean, they didn't know what to call it at first. So she kept saying, it was my aunt actually. She was saying, they're like talking in it. And I said, what do you mean they're talking? She said, they're talking in the song. You haven't heard it yet? I hadn't heard it yet. Then I heard it. I understood what she was saying. But that was the first. That was the launching pad for a lot of us in the introduction to rap music. And that's why I thought that was important to put it on the list, because for a lot of people, that was first exposure.
They were on Dinah Shore. That's when I saw them first. On the Dinah
Wow.
Shore. So that's when I saw them. Yeah, it's amazing.
What year was that? That was
1979.
9. Okay, I was gonna say 80, but 79. Okay. Yes, so that was. I
A
thought
lot
that
of
was.
us native New Yorkers wasn't feeling Rapper's Delight.
You said the state of New York wasn't.
No, not a lot of us city
Yes.
kids,
Right.
especially those of us from the Bronx, because some of us knew Hank, and Hank was talented, but the controversy behind Rapper's Delight was he was using rhymes that belonged to one of
Oh,
hip hop's pioneers, who was Grandmaster Caz from the Cold Crush Brothers. And that's
okay.
why he says, I'm the CAS and the OVA. He's spelling Casanova. So we were like, what? And we knew all of that because we were around the Cold Crush
Right.
Brothers. We were in those clubs, so we knew it. But we appreciated the commercial success and the fact that it put rap out there.
Right.
So,
Right. Understood.
and actually, that song wasn't a sample in the truest sense, because they didn't use the actual chic instrumentalization. Sylvia, in trying to avoid the sample issue, had a band play it. And that was another reason Nile got so mad when he heard it, because they tried to sidestep that by having a live band play it and therefore say it wasn't a sample, even though the hook was identical.
Yeah, they paid them.
Oh, they sure did.
Yeah, they paid. So they can say what they want, but they paid. It's like Vanilla
Right.
Ice paid for, saying it's all the thing. Everybody paid.
Yes. Okay.
But
Let's
that
go
was a
ahead. We only
great
got a.
choice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Let's go ahead and
So,
move to the next one. We just got a few minutes. Let's get these last couple in. Hmm.
Should stay, I would only be in your way. So I go,
yeah,
I know
a 4-time
I
platinum selling single,
every
11 weeks at #1 on the R&B chart, and 14 weeks at #1 on the pop charts. It just doesn't get any bigger than that. It just doesn't. It just
Beautiful. I mean, there's not much you can say about that one, and the voice is Whitney.
no, there isn't. No.
Except it's definitely for Black Music Month deserves to be mentioned, both Whitney and the song, but Whitney and herself as well. Next.
Well, we can finally say last but certainly not least, right?
No, we got two more. But
All right, what am I missing? Oh, I know. Never mind. Okie doke. Let me not get it twisted.
yes.
Okay, ready?
Yes. Ready?
Whoa, whoa.
Hey.
Whoa, whoa.
That song
And
just makes me want to get up and start dancing.
yes, it does. And amazingly, the song only went to number 13 on the R&B charts. Here's a little something about as big as Frankie Beverly was, they seldom crossed over to the pop chart at all.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
Mm-hmm.
that song never even crossed over to the pop chart.
Yeah, I
Never,
did.
although it's one of their biggest songs, it never crossed over, and it went to number 13 on the R&B chart. They had actually bigger songs than that, and they had two number ones: "Silky Soul" and "Back in Stride."
Oh, those were number
And
ones. And me personally, that's this. I like this one better than the other two, although I like the other ones. But I chose this because of the feeling I get for that song, no matter where I am.
transcends. It's yeah, absolutely. It's a
You know,
transcending song, right?
yes, it transcends. It doesn't matter. And I think truly for Black Music Month, that's truly one of our songs
I
for
agree.
Black Music
Totally
Month and
agree.
for Black folks.
I
And
agree
no
as
matter
well.
what,
That's a dance classic. You
right?
put it
No
on,
matter
people just get up.
there you go. No matter what party, no matter event, you put that on, you get the party started. People will just
Indeed.
flock to the dance floor or they'll get up. It works for us every time, and it just speaks for itself. So even though as Tyrone has taught me, all songs, even though they don't chart, that doesn't necessarily mean anything if they
Right.
didn't chart.
Right.
Um, um,
This is proof of it.
Yes, because that
That's
song
proof.
right there is just I will always I have fond memories of going to the jazz festival in Cincinnati, Ohio, and them being there. That whole football field, people rush to the football field and start dancing. When they start playing that song, and now Frankie doesn't even have to sing it. We'll sing it for him. We don't care. So I mean that is a classic, and I have to read this. Sharon saying, "People check out the book, The Four Seasons of R&B Music. Fabulous. Thanks, Mr. Dubois." So thanks, Sharon. Yes, I was going to say that at the end, but Sharon put it in there. Um, E Groove is
Thank you,
saying,
Sharon.
"I'm getting old. I don't get the Outcast song. The only thing I like by them is Elevators." Okay, well,
Yeah, you're
everybody's
getting
not
old.
going to like
You're getting old.
it. It's all good.
Probably
All
older. I'm
right.
probably older than he is.
It's all
Probably older
good.
than you. How do you do it?
So last but not least, this song was on everybody's list, all of our lists, uh, and with good reason. So 12, take it away. We're going to end with this one.
Your bad self. Say it loud. Say it loud. Look here. Some people say we got a lot of malice. Some say it's a lot of love. I say we want to quit moving until we get what we deserve. We've been beautiful and we've been
It's
Go
really
ahead.
strong.
ironic.
We've
I
been
gotta tell you,
beautiful.
I did his unsung. Um,
Oh,
and the unique part about doing his unsung is twofold. One, that was his seventh number one song. But what's unique is that was his last top 10 song on the pop charts for 17 years. And part of the problem was that it was 6 months after Martin Luther King was assassinated. He then makes this song, and he got to the top 10 with it, but he never touched the top 10 again on the pop chart until Sylvester Stallone asked him to do the song Living in America. And part of the reason why he didn't get to the top 10 again was because white people stopped buying his music after that song.
I was going to ask you that. I don't think I remembered that. So while he went to number one with that song, and we were very proud and happy, the white people got mad. They didn't buy it no more. They didn't like him no more.
Well, we were just, I mean, he was hitting the top 10 with, with a lot of his songs,
Oh,
that were out. But once that, like, I Feel Good, some of the other songs, he was mainstream. But when he made that song, they shut him down on the pop charts.
that's
Now, he
very
got
interesting.
close, but he
Okay.
got close to the top 10. But he never hit the top 10 again until Living in America.
Wow, that's a very interesting tidbit to share. So, but we all agreed. I mean, that's one of the first songs I thought of, and I think 12 as well, right? That was on everybody's list. And when you
Oh,
think of black
absolutely.
music, one of the strong ones, one of the powerful songs. So, was there anyone that I mean, we it was hard to pick songs, and I said just pick five, and we're trying to combine. Was there any groups? We won't get into song, or if there's a song you can think of before we shut down, because it's time. Actually, our time is about up. But any groups that you can think of that you would want to put on? You couldn't think of a song, or is there any other songs honorable mention that we couldn't put in the list for the sake of time?
I thought the Jackson Five should have been part of the. I thought about them. 28 songs that
Mm.
charted in the decade, and 25 reached the top 10. That was big in itself.
Wow. Yes. That well, we had Michael, so we got it. What? I can't even say a fourth because it was five of them. But yes, and of course I'm a Jackson Five fanatic myself. And you know who I thought of, Tyrone and 12. I Earth, Wind and Fire was a group that I think when I think of groups or artists um, that stand alone or in a class by themselves. I always think of Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson. Those are the three that always come to mind. We didn't have any Earth, Wind and Fire songs, but I had to keep the list. I mean, I'm sure they would have made it eventually, but Earth, Wind and Fire is one I always have to at least say honorable mention for me.
I would
Yeah, I
agree
agree.
with that. I
Yeah, I
would have
agree.
added as a group the Temptations.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I agree.
for a
Supremes.
singular artist, my honorable mention went to Curtis Mayfield because I did think about that. Curtis
Yeah,
Mayfield, so iconic, and so many of
yeah,
those songs rang true. Again, just that
Yeah.
yeah,
powerful emotional connection.
yeah.
And for me, there's one song that I probably would have squeezed in at number six. MFSB, "Love Is the Message."
Okay. I have to go hear
That's
that.
for me. That's one of those songs that, like, before I let go, if you play it, they will come.
I'm sure I know it when
Yeah.
I hear it. I can't think of it right
Yeah,
now.
I thought about the Supremes because they four times with the Beatles. Every time the Beatles was at number one, the Supremes knocked them off. All
Wow.
four
I love
times on the
it.
pop chart. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you both so very much. It has been an interesting show. I thank you for celebrating Black Music Month with me and on KAMDI Conversations. Tyrone, I can't wait till you come back again.
12,
Please
love
do.
you, brother. Thank you so much for all your knowledge. I appreciate you.
Back
And
at you. I
once
love
again,
you
Tanya,
too.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
both for your knowledge. Then Black Music Month is not just about the music, not just about the artists. It's also about the DJs, people like both of you, the R&B historians that keep it alive, that talk about it, that teach us. So I appreciate both of you and what you all do for Black Music Month. And always, I appreciate you. 12, tell everybody where they can find you and listen.
You can catch me every Saturday on WRTWDB, Broad Truth Radio, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Great. Thank you, 12. And Tyrone, where can we, are you doing a lot of stuff? Tell us where we can follow and find you as well.
Well, of course, I'm doing the unsung episodes, but you can always find me on my social media. You can find me at Tyrone Dubois or at my website at rnbhistorian.com or on the red carpet in Beverly Hills because I'm going to be there in about 45 minutes.
All right. Okay. So we're going to see you on the red carpet. Thank you, Tyrone. Go get dressed. Go get that tux on, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much. You all have a
Thank
great
you all
rest
so
of the
much.
day.
Love you guys. Thank you so
Love you
much.
back. Make sure you all
Okay.
subscribe to KAMDI Conversations, the KAMDI group, and follow me. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.